What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe uh, as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on LeBron James fans seem to think that, everything LeBron James did throughout his career was a stroke of genius. Like with this the player empowerment era, LeBron James moving from team to team, LeBron James, with longevity, LeBron James with the scoring title, they just seem to think that everything is was basically a stroke of genius for LeBron James. But when you think about it, everything that these fans say about LeBron James is a good or a positive, right? You could turn it around and say that like it actually hurts his legacy. And so this video or the audio that I'm about to play just really points out how when like every argument that you make for LeBron James being the GOAT, LeBron James being, one of the best basketball players who have ever lived, all of his arguments turn around and also point in the other direction that, maybe he's not the GOAT. Maybe he's not the genius that his fans think that he is, and so with that being said, listen to this audio and I'm gonna come back and give my input. I might even just interrupt something.
But the thing about it is he's not comfortable being an underdog. It's not something he's done very often in his career, and he really doesn't like it when a team has his number.
Front runners, meaning when things are going great, we all in it.
I mean, he's changed.
All right, so this first guy, this Brian Windhorse, if you don't recognize his voice, it's Brian Windhorse. And so he's probably trying to make another point, but when he says that LeBron James has never been he's not comfortable being an underdog, right? It's true. You've never seen LeBron James, just strap his team on his back when he had less talent and then was able to get them over the hump. And so the next voice you heard was what was it? The last one you heard was Dwayne Wade, right? And he was speaking about front runners. And what have people been calling LeBron James for years? They've always said that LeBron James was a front runner. So
teams in the past a couple of times when he's felt another team has his number.
When things are going bad, they pull apart.
When the Celtics had his number, he went to Miami. When the Warriors had his number, he went to LA.
LeBron has stacked it.
All right, so like I said, those are his people. That's Dwayne Wade, Brian Windhorst saying that LeBron James was a front runner. Now they might be trying to put a positive spin on it, but it is what it is. LeBron James is just a front runner. He's somebody who packed up and rolled out throughout his career. Now, right now, we get ready to listen to Charles Barkley, right? And Charles Barkley, he don't try to put a spin on it. He just keeps it, he just straight up and honest about the situation.
Teams. Let's be realistic.
The Nuggets have had the Lakers number. What's his move? He doesn't really have a move.
Played with so many guys. He's the guy who has led the charge in terms of super teams being put together.
Yeah. Does he want all the good players? He don't want to compete. He's got to have all the best players on his team. He want everybody. He don't want to compete. He want to be the favorite all the time. It just pisses me off that a guy that great don't want to compete.
All right, so let me say this about that, right? And I agree with Charles Barkley, and that's what fans felt like they got cheated at, and I always say that I don't think that we have ever seen LeBron James like reach his highest potential, right? For somebody who was as good and as great as LeBron James, he never did. Because in order to reach your highest potential, you have to have a nemesis or a competitor, somebody that's going to bring that out of you, like Tyson and Holyfield, right? That was a good fight. Or like Ali and Frazier for people for people that were older who remember that fight. Those guys fought and almost to the death because neither one of those guys wanted to give up. Right. And so that was a great fight. Ali Frazier. If you're not old enough to remember that fight, look those fights up when Muhammad Ali fought Joe Frazier, right? And those were Ali's best fights. Those were Frazier's best fight because those guys were at the time, they was at the top of their game, as far as boxing was concerned, and they just pushed each other to their limits. Whereas though LeBron James, anytime somebody pushed LeBron James, he just didn't, he didn't compete like that. Now, is he a genius for doing that? Because he got paid, he made his money. He's going down as one of the greatest basketball players in the league who've ever played, right? So is he a genius for doing that? Like, why work hard like Michael Jordan, or why work hard like Larry Bird? And Larry Bird back was hurting by the end of his career. What's the other guy? Isaiah Thomas was suffering from tons of nagging injuries by the end of his career. So maybe LeBron James is a genius, right? Maybe LeBron James, he didn't have to work like that. He got his 4 rings. He made his money. He gonna ride off into the sunset. I don't think it's gonna work out like that. I really don't, because it sets a bad precedent for the people for fans. It sets a bad precedent for the NBA and the people who pay LeBron's salary. Like, I don't think they don't want that to be that to reoccur. Like, people just be able to switch from team to team, not really put your all into it, and just, it just waters the sport down. So that's why I think that once LeBron James separate from the NBA, I just think a lot of this is going to come back and hurt his legacy, because I just don't think it's good for the game. And it always starts with the fans, right? The fans, there's outcry from the fans, and then later on, though, the fans are the ones who going to lead the charge as to what will become of LeBron James' legacy. And then the powers that be, they just let what happens. And so that's, the situation I think is going to happen with LeBron James.
There's no way that, just hindsight, I would have never, called up Larry, called up Magic and say, hey, let's get together and play on one team. I mean, that's, in all honesty, I was trying to beat those guys. I don't know if they would have been on my team. If we'd been on our team, obviously, when you look at the Dream Team, they were on our team, and it wasn't too much of a competitive thing. I'm a competitive guy, and, I like to play against competitive players. And
all right, so this is Michael Jordan, right? Explaining, like, that's the nature of sports. Like, when we watched the 92 Dream Team, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, right? It was good to see those guys go and play, different teams around the world, China, France, Russia. I don't know if it was, they wasn't boycotting them, but Russia, all those great teams, all those other teams around the world, right? It was good to in that format and in that setting. That was good, because basketball was trying to go global, and so that was part of the push and the campaign for basketball to go global. So when you see all those guys, Charles Barkley and Karl Malone on the same, Patrick Ewing on the same team, that's different. But they also played against each other, man, and some of the greatest games, not just Mike against Pat, but you talk about Charles Barkley going up against the Knicks, or Karl Malone going up against Patrick Ewing and Magic and all those guys. They had to play each other, Magic and John Stockton. So that's what basketball has been all about. But maybe LeBron James is a genius. Maybe he figured it out. Maybe, you can play 24, 25 years in the NBA and be healthy, make all your money, water down the sport, and just walk away and ride off into the sunset. Maybe that's, maybe that's what's going to happen with LeBron James. I don't think so, but that's what his fans seem to think. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.